Yo, 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 yo. Oh, I was jamming out before we started here. Tell you that's one thing right now I can't, because we're live on the YouTubes, I cannot properly jam out. I was listening to some Zach Bryan, something in the orange, and some other stuff. Tell you that like outlaw country folk sound is my jam, especially on a Friday night at the end of the week. I just sit out, reflect on the week, a little bit of liquid for the palate. What up, Rebecca? On my front porch, just kind of listen to some Chris Stapleton, some Zach Bryan, some Cody Jinks, some a few other people, Cody Johnson, and just chill. So way to spend a Friday night, if you ask me. But hey, I'm biased. Cheers to you banditos coming here to hang out. A tough week, probably the toughest week I can remember in the market with lack of good days. I actually don't remember another week this hard. So, cheers if you're still surviving. Either way, welcome to everybody. And I'm sure I'll do another cheers again when other people get in. But hey, for those of you who are here early, cheers. And we can leave. Feel free to leave a like if you're watching this and you like it. If you don't, that's fine. Whatever you want to do. Share it with friends, all that other fun stuff. We are going to talk about momentarily, obviously. We'll be talking about a little bit of tilting and recovering from tilting is going to be the topic of tonight's shenanigans. Recovering from a bad week, recovering from tilting. I think it is what up, Dan? How's it going? Cheers. As you guys are coming in, if you had a good week, let me know. If you had a tough week, let me know. I think most people had a very tough week, relatively speaking. I don't blame you. It was an extremely difficult week of trading with some good days mixed in there, I think. But overall, fairly difficult. Microsoft. I'm just throwing up some lines while we wait for a few people to come in. Part of my evening routine. Yeah, very much on ya. Very much a tough week, very difficult price action, in my opinion. I do not think it was an easy week. I do not think it was an easy day. If you had a tough week, you are not in the majority. I had a tough week in one account and a decent week that evened it out in another account because I had some swing shorts from the topping that kind of made up for what the rest of the week didn't. But my scalping definitely suffered. I don't think I had a good day this week. I think I had a couple okay days, but definitely no good days this week. So it was one of those, drop frame rates. Whatever. So I'm going to throw up some of these, give people a chance to get in. And this is part of what I believe is pivotal to remaining successful. And there's a reason. Usually I'll do this on Sunday night, but I actually might not trade Monday morning. I've been wanting to get back into jiu-jitsu, and since I've moved to Georgia, I haven't had the ability to, more because of time than anything else, and not wanting to leave my pregnant wife with the children by herself, because that's a lot at night, and most of the classes I could do goes at night, but there's one that goes a little bit earlier in the morning, so I might actually be going Monday morning to class and missing the start of Monday, but that doesn't really change anything. As far as prepping, that just means I come in later, see what formations are coming on and what formations are happening, and then trade them. But I'm just drawing my little boxes and then we're going to talk about Tesla. We're going to talk about the market. We're going to talk about tilting and recovering from it. And what I think has been the most successful for me, and I think there's probably 2 or 3 different. If you guys have questions, it's just Friday Fireside, hang out, chat. I meant to ask Rose or anybody else if they wanted to come on, but it was a busy day. I wasn't trading this afternoon. I went to, I had some dinner with the pastor, and then something else, trip to Lowe's to pick up some stuff, and so it just took up my afternoon. I only got back with like 15 minutes left, and everything looked dead, so I was like, I'm not going to mess with this. I'm not trading GME, I don't trade Oxy. I really don't trade Spotify either. Maybe I should. Next week is going to be our last week, guys, of trading Tesla. Pre-split. It's going to be a sad, sad day. We're going to have an end show. It was. That's a wild week, Rebecca. That really is. I feel you, though. Like, I completely understand. Oh, where am I at in these? Almost done. And then we'll kick off the show. Or kick off the portion of the show where we kind of talk about... where we kind of talk about what we need to do. And recovering from tilting. One or 2 more charts. Hard to do this while you're talking and looking at chat and all that other fun stuff. Do you guys, if you're here, hey Ralph, what's up? Hey Dario, what's going on? How are you guys doing? Happy Friday. I expect most people today to be like, yo, I do not want to be talking about the market this week. Screw Gator. Screw this. Not particularly me, but just like overall, this market. I'm going to not think about it, and I'm not going to touch it. And the way that like I saw the polls and stuff. I didn't get to watch the hour show tonight, but I did get the update that he was of the poll and stuff, so I'm interested to see that almost no one was very green, which is not a surprise on a day like today. Just one of those kind of interesting things to see. It doesn't change. If I go back to DWAG, not trading. No, I did AMC there. I don't trade these names. So I'm doing these even with names that I'm not trading right now because I am considering beginning to trade these after Tesla split. Because there's a lot of times that I see some of these names setting up and I would take them, but if Tesla works, it's going to pay better. So I don't do them because Tesla, dude, Ralph, you need to meme that. Yeah, that was nothing. I mean, honestly, the only time to make money this morning was early. And this was incredible. I did not trade Tesla today, really. I haven't made money in Tesla on Fridays in the last 3 weeks, so I just didn't trade it. But today, like this was garbage because each one of these candles took out the last one, so you had to hold just thinking it was going down. But I mean, realistically, I actually drew this fib at the open. And if you watch the video I did with Kelly, I mean, Tesla behaved in the sense of, it was like, here's your breakdown. You went to the 127, and then you went to the 161. And then we just continue going down to our first support level, which if you were on the morning show, our first support was 82.62. We hit that, which if you want to know where that level came from, it is... Where is it? Where's that line at? Here. It's like the top of this, top of this breakout here. I think if I went back on the 5-minute, there was a couple, I think it was a 5-minute and 15-minute chart, like the line that we hit today. Top of here, top of this candle. So it's the top of a lot of these, top of this breakout, pull in and breakout bar. So I said on the way down 78.12. If we busted that, we were going to, I thought we were going to What did I say to Rose when she asked what my target was? So I always know what my targets were. I thought we were going to 75, 77 if we were going to break down, and instead we didn't. We hit that 78.12 support and bounced up back into the 21, failed to break lower, and then I left. I think I caught one of these. I think I actually caught this breakdown. It was only a point, and that's like a 4-point candle. And next week's options only moved a point, so you had no volatility increase in Tesla, so it was very difficult to trade today. So if you're red or flat, you shouldn't have been mad. I mean, look at the Qs. And this is kind of how it's been this week. You know, this is pretty difficult. It's not behaving. You know, I took a few losses. I got in the Qs for a long, somewhere around here, and then took a little bit of profits, and then got stopped out for a break even on this and a loss. And then, you know, it never really came back up, and we thought it was going to retest a little bit higher. Never did. Never retested 26.40. So I was hoping it was going to retest that and fail, and I was going to long it into that and then short it, but it didn't happen. So, oh, I was blocking what I was doing. Oh, sorry. It was just a Tesla. Like if I move my face out of the way, get small. I got to shrink myself. If I go back to Tesla, thanks for letting me know. It was just the top of previous lines. If you go to a 5-minute chart and you zoomed out, you can see where support's at in Tesla on a 5-minute chart. The line that we hit today was a key level. And the Qs also kind of stopped at that point. Yeah, I'll love, brother. No worries. So we got a few in here now. So let's talk about the main topic of this, other than Tesla, which is tilting. But first, cheers to you guys. Whether or not you survived this week, you're a trader, you're trading, best job in the world. Cheers. Second cheers of the night. Did I mess this up? I did. No, that's a 5-minute. Oh, that's a 2-minute. There you go. All right. So, what up, Corey? Long time, man. I meant to text you back the other day, actually. I was thinking about you. I'm going to hit you up after the show. How you been? So, had an okay week, flat in one and decent in another account. So, all in all, not the best week. Super incredible, tough week. A lot of you have had a rough time this week, and it's not surprising. I mean, look at yesterday. Look at this trash. I mean, look at the day before. Like, it's really been. I actually thought this day was decent, but if you look at the Qs, I don't think it was. It's been fairly difficult action. So it's been like a hit it and quit it market, but people have been having a hard time. People tilt, people get mad, and it could have happened to me yesterday in Tesla. Yesterday, if you were in chat, you heard me take this trade, and you heard Mitchell take this trade. Thankfully, Mitchell made it back, and Mitchell did. So there are two parts of tilting I want to talk about. And I've talked about tilting before, and my answer, generally speaking, is the same, but I'll say it again, and it can be more specific. If you're having a trouble with tilting, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be glad to talk to you about it. No, this is all just my opinion. It's for entertainment purposes. You shouldn't take anything I say as gospel. But I was in this trade literally limited in on this moving average. So did Mitchell. Two of these. This is a long 100% of the time. Let me move my face. Let me move my face. And then we're going to talk about this. And we're going to talk about tilting using yesterday. Thanks, James. This long here. 100% of the time, this long off the 200 in Tesla. You can see it here at the bottom. We gapped up. We pulled in directly on the 200 and the 21. I longed the crap out of this. It was on 2 or 3 points up in this trade with 10 contracts. So I'm $2,000-$3,000 up right here. Instead of taking it like I should have, no, I'm not even going to say I should have. I don't think I should have. This was a good long with a good trade idea. I talked about this in the pre-market. I talked about it the day before. I was looking for compression and bouncing off of this and for a rocket up. It's completely okay that it didn't go. And then it went back down. It went up some. I took off about half here just to lock in some profit and then broke even on the second half. That's fine. Is what it is. The point is, you could have held this and lost here. If you're like, I'm going to hold till it breaks to 21, that wouldn't have been wrong. You know, generally speaking, that's what we do. So, oh, it broke the 200 and the 21. You take a loss when you're 2 or 3 points up. What's the answer there, or what's the tendency there once something like that happens? What are you most likely to do? You're most likely to just extremely mad, extremely pissed off, extremely upset that it didn't work. Well, I had this and it worked and it should have worked. And then you reverse to the downside and you try to trade it to the downside. And then you get whipped out of the downside and it comes back up and it goes lower. And then you scalp some in here and you lose in both directions and you're down 6K instead of being up 3K and you're just pissed off at the world and you've tilted. Cry. That's right, Rebecca. You just cry. You cry in your hands, you cry in your thing. You're like, it's 9:05 or it's 9:35 or 9 whatever, and I'm going to start drinking already. You're just completely upset with yourself. We mourn, and it happened today. I'm using it yesterday as an example of something that happened that like I called out in the room that we literally saw happen live. Something bit me. And that's like your instinct at that point is to tilt, is to double down, is to force it, is just to lose all semblance of what we do, of strategy, of locating good trades, of taking high conviction setups with minimal risk or with lowered risk. And you go risk on instead of going risk off. Instead of being like, hey, and let's say you did tilt. There's nothing you can do after you tilt. So first thing is to, you're like, I tilted within the instance. So we're talking about micro right now. We're talking about in the day, and then we're going to talk about macro. So micro tilting. Yeah, you could do that, James. You could go full Ricky Bobby and just pray to baby Jesus. You could pray. You could do whatever it is. Not that you shouldn't do that, as far as like legitimately, not jokingly, step away and like, but not for a hit and a home run. And we'll get to that. But you take some losses. You're down whatever amount of money that it is. You're pissed off it didn't work in both directions. You get shaken out every single which way from Sunday. What do? Well, there's, you can sit there and you can be like, I'm going to double down and I'm going to hit a home run and I'm going to make it back, which in a sense is possible technically for you to do, but not probable. Within the day, the first thing to do, in my opinion, is to emotionally or some way step away, because we get emotional tunnel vision and we get sucked in and we get locked in to the micro picture of Tesla or whatever name it is. I'm using Tesla as an example. We trade it very heavily because of how well it pays when you're right. This is not bullets. This is Flying Ace from a micro distillery in Virginia. And then I've got some Elijah Craig barrel proof if I drink all of this. That I'll try. So you have that tunnel vision, that emotionalism going on. You have to detach. You have to be able to somehow detach. Is it possible to make money back without detaching? If the market gets good, yes. But that doesn't mean that that's going to work best for you in the long run. Teaching yourself to identify that you've tilted and detach simply says, I've already screwed up. I'm already down, for my example, 6K. You could say $600, you could say $6,000, you could say $2,000. It doesn't matter. Pick a number that's big for you. Assuming you haven't hit your daily stop loss. You know what? I'm going to step away. I'm going to get my mind right. I'm going to chill. All right, I'm there. All right, I'm going to come back to it. If I'm going to come back, I'm going to sit down. All right, what am I seeing in the market? What story is the market telling me? Okay, let's say I come back and I'm back in the story after I've taken just a second, maybe 5 minutes, maybe get up, walk around, take a breath, get a drink of water. Like, I've messed up. There's nothing I can do. We are 0-0. Remember, we're micro. We'll go to macro. We'll go to the big picture of after the next day after tilting. And you come back and you're like, hey, I'm going to trade. What are you going to do? Well, you can look at the name that wrecked you and you can be like, well, look at Tesla. And if you come back after a few minutes and you see it doing this, just bouncing off here, you know what? This isn't moving yet. I have resistance overhead. We're failing to break out. You know what? We're not above the first 2-minute high. So what's your rules? First 2-minute high to trade. We're not above the first 2-minute high. I'm just going to leave it alone. I don't care. We're not above the 2-minute high. We're not above the 2-minute low. There's no setup. We're inside this box probably, or just above it. I'm just going to wait. If it rips and breaks out, I'll come back and play it for a setup. I'm not going to trade it. Let's look at the whole market. And I'm going to use Mitchell as an example. He had a rough day that day on Tesla with it. And he came back and NVIDIA, and he traded NVIDIA. And he got in NVIDIA, and I don't know exactly how he played it. He's not here. But he caught most of this move and got back to small red from big red. Instead of doubling down on something that didn't work, he took a step back. He looked at the whole market, found a name that was trending, was outside of the Fab 4 box, was outside of the zone, was riding the 21 up, was putting in higher highs, had a trigger to the upside. Geronimo was calling it out. The Qs were going higher, I believe. Excuse me. And then took it and made most of his money back playing a name that was doing what he wanted it to in the direction that he wanted it to. And it was probably uncomfortable for him because we generally don't play slow moving names like NVIDIA. But he did it and it worked. So finding names that are working, that are doing what you want it to do, that are within a trend, that are setting up on a strategy on a microcosm within the day is a way to shortly recover. And you should never try to monetarily recover from your entire day, in my opinion. And it's just my opinion. Because to me, once I've blown out, the day is done. Let's say my stop loss is 5,000 and I'm down 4,000. Or let's say it's 10,000, I'm down 9,000. Let's say it's 1,000, I'm down 600, 800. You can either just push it and just be like, I don't care. I'm either one and done it, like it's either going to work or I'm done. Or you can sit there and just be like, hey, what are some good trades? I'm going to take appropriate size. I'm not going to try to get it all back. Maybe I will get it back. But I'm just going to look for the trades. I'm going to take intelligent trades. All right, so what am I looking at? And you kind of tell yourself the story of the market, the story of the chart that you're looking at. And you say, this is this, this is this, and you kind of hear me talking about it sometimes. All right, this fib line has happened. I think this is happening. Mitchell does a great job of this. I've heard other people doing it too. You know, this is happening. This is happening. I like this to this area. This is why Geronimo's playing this. I can see why he's taking it there. I'm going to take it here. I'm going to take size enough to where the trade can work. And you know, if your stop loss is $1,000, you're down 800, and you get back to $400, that's making half of that back today that you don't have to make back tomorrow. That is the mindset I go into. It's not about, like, even if I'm down 10 grand, my mindset is not, all right, I need to make 10 grand back. It's, I need to make 1 grand back or $500 back. Because every $1,000 I make back or every $100 I make back is something I don't have to make back the next day. It's something I don't care about the next day. So it's like, you know what, let's just make a smart trade, make a smart trade, make a smart trade, not make money back, not do this, just where's the trade? Maybe the trade works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you hit your stop loss for the day that you have to respect, and then you stop, which is completely okay, and then you just stop. If you don't hit that and you just start building back, you don't get cocky, you don't size up, you're like, I'm going to smack this, find the next trade and take the next trade. Find the next trade and take the next trade. On the micro level, that is the only way to continue trading. It's to recognize that you're a good trader, that trading works, the strategies you use almost always work. They're statistically proven to work. So now you have to find names to apply them to. So instead of applying a name to Tesla, which did this, if we go back to Tesla and we see that it did this, we find a name that's actually trending. For the sake of this, you know, NVIDIA, what in the world? And something that's like, oh, look, we dropped down, we popped up, higher lows, and we're trending higher. This is a good name. Geronimo likes this. Whoever likes this. We're going up, all right, and we're going to take this trade. Maybe it was Apple to the downside. I think this was the same day. The Apple was garbage this day, I think. Maybe it's the Qs. Qs that day. Maybe it is something else. Maybe the Qs hit a support level and they're bouncing. So you're going to take them off of a support level. Maybe they're topping and you're going to short them. And you find a name, and instead of trying to get it back, you just try to trade intelligently. Because what that's going to do mentally for you is it's going to tell you that you have the ability to do this. That, you know what, some trades didn't work, and that's okay, and maybe you took too much size, maybe you did something wrong, but you know what, you're a good trader and you can win. Once you tilt, you have to prove to yourself that you can win again, because you lose the ability to to see yourself as a winner. Once you start losing in this, you're like, I can't win anymore. It's like, I suck. I'm a failure. I can't get this. This isn't working. The market gremlins are against me, whatever it is. And you don't trust yourself. You don't believe in yourself. And so every loss that you double down on, like, this is going to work. I'm going to smash 100 contracts, 50, 30 contracts. This is going to work. I'm going to make my day back. It didn't work. Man, I knew I shouldn't have done that. I'm a failure. I'm this. If you're down $8,000 and you come back to being down $2,000 or $1,000, you just made $7,000 that you don't have to make tomorrow, even though you have a $1,000 red day. You're going to come back tomorrow and make $2,000 to $3,000, and then you're going to be green. And the next day is not even going to matter. And then you have a $500,000, whatever, average over the last 2 days, as opposed to having to make some of that back the next day and not making it back. And who knows what's going to happen there. Take a long-term approach to your small losses and realize that this, your career as a trader does not start and end on one bad day, unless you let it, unless you just smack the crap out of BBBY and it goes against you. You want to trade meme stocks, that's fine. So on the micro level, understand that what you do translates to the macro. And so take that average and take the understanding of what you're doing, which is just, okay, I've already messed up. There's nothing I can do. We're just going to make a few good trades. We're going to get back some of the money, and then we're going to be fine. Because if you end on some winners, and Mark Melnick used to say this, if you're down and you're losing and you talk to a person who made 10 grand and then lost 8 and is up 2 grand, he's going to feel worse than the person who is down 10 grand and came back and is now down 2 grand. That's just a fact of this job and a fact of this business. The person down 2 grand is happier than the person up 2 grand at the end of the day if they made it back and they traded intelligently, as opposed to the person who lost their day. That's all you can do. That is literally what, you're just like, you know what, I screwed up, I traded intelligently, and I got back. What that also does on the micro level is reinforce what you need to do the next day, which is not be stupid, which is not take outside size, outside risk. Maybe it's like, hey, you know what, it's really early in the morning. Let's go back to there. Tesla likes to whip around. I'm going to take 20 contracts here, and instead of holding all 20, I'm just going to sell 10. And I'm not saying excuse me, I'm not going to say take 20 or take 10 or take 5. I took 6 contracts. I'm going to sell 3, and I'm going to hold 3 when I'm 2 points up. When I'm a point and a half up in the morning, 5 seconds into the day, I'm taking half my contracts off the table, and I'm going to hold a runner. I don't care if it could run and I could be up 20 points. I don't care. I'm locking in. You know what? I'm going to take that approach. Then the next day you get the chance of this, and you take some off, and then you're fine. You're like, hey, I don't care if Gator's still in at 20 points from now. And he's like, whatever it is. Gator is cool with that. That's his risk parameters. You know what, for me, I was stupid, and I'm just going to take it off. And I'm up a point, and that's $500, and I'm freaking happy about that. And I'm going to take that, or $300 or whatever it is, and I'm good. And then you take that risk off, and then maybe you make 20 points on your next contract, 5, 10 points on your next contracts, your 2 or 3 contracts. Or you break even, and you're like, hey, I traded really smart. Let's wait for the next setup. All right, we popped. All right, we're down here. We're whipping a little higher highs. I'm going to take another one off the 21. I'm going to point up. I'm going to take another 3 contracts off, hold 3. We whip around. I'm just going to get out of this. This is annoying. Tesla's not doing what I want it to. And now, instead of being down or flat after you were up all this and you're tilting, so, you're green. So you take what you did wrong, you adjust for the next day by reducing risk and practicing risk management on that micro level. And you're like, you know what, man, I was down $1,000, 2,000, 7,000, and I made 6,000, whatever it is back, 500, whatever. So I didn't need to take that outside risk in the morning. If I just sit here and I scalp intelligently throughout the day, I can make 6,500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 500, $20, $50, whatever that number is. And I can just do that by scalping intelligently. I don't need to take outside risk during the day. I just need to identify smart trades and take them throughout the day. And I'm going to have a bigger day than if I just aggressively go at things early and try to hit home runs out of the gate. You train yourself to see the market that way. You train yourself to trade that way. You're like, you know what? It's not worth it because I don't like tilting. And you create habitual habits for yourself in the market. If you create bad habits, you're gonna trade wrong. You're gonna be a bad trader. If you create good habits, it's gonna be the other way around. So on those type of days, work on that on the micro level. And I see a few comments. We'll see if there's anything that that jumps out here. Yeah, you're not wrong, Corey. Cutting the green, at least take profits off. There's nothing wrong with taking profits off and locking some in. And then we'll talk about the micro of the, we'll talk about the macro of the, which is the same on a micro level, but we'll talk about the macro of it. Yeah, Qs do follow Apple. Tesla does its own thing, but this week you definitely have had a correlation between the whole market and the choppiness in the Qs and Apple and some of these other names, because we're at the end of the line as far as a move goes, and we at least need to pull back before we go higher, or a flush and a sell-off and some fear to start taking place. Everything's just been moving with the Qs. Apple is an indicator. I always have Apple up because it does kind of follow the Qs. So if you're watching Apple, statistically speaking, and you're watching it do something, a lot of times the Qs are going to follow. So you can always watch that. I always have that one up. And you'll often see correlations in a lot of the charts. SPY definitely also. I've started watching the SPY more. I've seen sometimes it's more scalpable than the Qs. I need to start trying it sometimes. I'm glad you came back, Dari. And even though you felt like you screwed up, you did, but you survived because you were intelligent afterwards. And instead of getting 360 up or 360 down and then going from 360 to 800 down, you came back to 36. So you were able to make $360 from trading intelligently, or $396 trading intelligently. So you know that if you trade intelligently throughout the day now, you can have a $400 day. You can sit there, you can trade intelligently throughout the days, and you can make $400 a day by trading intelligently, as opposed to be like, man, I suck and I'm $800 down. That's the different mindsets that you come away with. They're like, yo, I screwed up and I made it back because I was smart intraday. I put together a few good trades, listened to people or looked at the market and picked good things. Hopefully didn't just take lottos, and it worked out, and I made it back. And that's part of this job. Losing is part of this job. I have down days. I have red days, red weeks. Like, it is part of this job. If you can't handle that, then don't do it. Then just stop. There's no way to never be red. It is not possible. It is not possible to not take losses. You might have a year, you might have a week where you don't take them, but until you get incredibly good, you can have years of not losing probably once you get good. You can do stuff and train yourself in a way. But generally speaking, you're going to have red days, and you just have to accept them. You have to accept losing trades. Even on green days, you have losing trades. So you have to accept losing and lose well. Losing well is key. Losing well is pivotal to your success as a trader. So work on developing losing well and identifying, you know what, I hate the ATR and Tesla. I didn't trade Tesla today because it had like a low ATR. I'm not trading a name that can whip 2 to 3 points against me when it's just grinding on a sub $1 ATR. Like, I'm looking at 69 cents for on a 10-minute ATR at the end of the day on a 10-1. A 1-minute candle for 10 minutes, average ATR of like half a dollar. Heck no, I ain't touching that crap. You can't even make money on the options. They'll depreciate before you freaking get paid on those things. You had to wait 30 minutes to get a 4-point move, which paid you a point. Screw that noise. I'm not trading Tesla. I have to hold it all day. I ain't doing that. It's going to whip down 1 second. I'm going to get shaken out because the volatility drops out of your option. No, screw that. Identify like the weakness in it. I didn't trade Tesla today and barely yesterday just because of that. Garbage options, garbage ATR, leave it alone. Identify when you're good at trading names and when you're not. Identify what was right and what was wrong and how you were trading. Now let's kind of get into the macro. When you come back and you look at it, you want to recover from a tilt day, from a tilt week. A few people have messaged in the last couple of shows, Robert and some other ones that are like, hey, I've had the last 5 days have been red. Hey, this has happened. Hey, this has happened. What's going on? I mean, you can message me if you want to talk specifically about challenges you're having in these names. What are you trading? What are you doing? All right, Tesla's whippy and it sucks the last 5 days and you've been trading it. Stop trading it. Wait, see what other names other people like. What about NVIDIA? What about Apple? What about some of these other names? How are they moving? How can I identify them? Are they trading a little bit better than some of these other names? Adjust what you're doing on the macro level. Come back the next day and be like, you know what? And I think Anya said, like, I'm not trading. She wasn't trading Tesla very much. She was like, I'm trading Amazon or something. And can you identify something that's happening in Amazon? Is Amazon following the cues? Is something like that happening? Are you having these tops here in Amazon? Like if you looked at a daily chart of Amazon, I think I have a fib line here on Amazon. Did it hit? Oh, look at this. I had a fib line on Amazon. That was today I drew that. You're here. Look at Amazon today. You had your leg down. You came back up. You put in a lower low. You popped back up. You still didn't hit the 61%. So you could still take a trade here. Came back up to the top of this. Yeah, you're above the 21. You still didn't hit the 50%. You start breaking down back below the 21. You could take another short down here. Pops back up into the 21. You can short this for a move to the 127. That's a legit trade. You can find things that are working. Am I in the way again? James, you gotta tell me when I'm in the way. Thanks, Rebecca. My head always gets in the way of everything. So, Amazon. Thanks, Rebecca. So, just a bit, yeah. So, and I'm just using Amazon as an example. I don't think I took this. I think I was watching something else. No, I might have taken this. Did I take Amazon? I think I took Meta instead. I was in Meta. So I'll go to Meta because I was in Meta today. I shorted Meta. I didn't trade Tesla. I shorted Meta. So here's this. You're back up. Here's your flush. You hit the 127. You never broke above the 161. You're back below the 21. Yeah, you could short it here, whatever. You're back here. What are the Qs doing? What are the markets doing? You could try that short. That's not a bad short. You're back below the 21. You know what? Let's try it short. And if it breaks above S2, I'm out. That's what, a 20-cent loss in Amazon? On your contracts, a 10-cent loss in Amazon on your contracts, 31. That's nothing. That's like 10, 20-cent stop loss. You're below S1. You pop back up to the 21. You could take that. And 38 to 39, it's like a point gain you can get for a 20-cent stop loss or so. If you just have that short target and you say, you know what, I'm gonna wait, don't do that. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna try something like that. You could do Meta. I shorted Meta today. I didn't go too heavy. Meta broke down. Don't remember when I called it short. Somewhere in here. You're breaking down. You break down. You break below the low. Kind of pop back up. You fade off. You hit the 127. There's your fib move. You hit your 127. You pop back up. You go down. You come back up into the 21. Here's your next short. I know I shorted it here. You're going down. I was in it. I got out some here. I got out more here. I don't think I added, but you could have added here, and then it rolls back down. You never broke above a higher pivot. You never really held. Yeah, you held the 21 and S3. You might have got shaken out some here. You come back down, and there's your 161 of the move. That was the end of the line in Meta for me. So there are other ways to identify other names that were working, that other names that are trading well that you can take. You can do stuff like this and hold it if you're like, hey, the market's garbage, but you know what? I made my money initially in the Meta drop here. I'm holding 2 to 3 contracts or 10 contracts, 30 contracts, and I don't really care. I'm just gonna, and it's not that you don't care, but it's that the trade hasn't failed yet. So it's like the trade hasn't failed. We're still going down. We're still going to target. You can't jump in and jump out of Meta. You're gonna get, you're gonna lose. But you can just identify what's happening. All right, we hit the 161 of the initial move. We're done with Meta, and there you go. That was my name for the day. I think you could probably also draw it like this, and you might hit the same line because we hadn't hit the 21 yet. We came back up. Yeah, look at that. So that actually works out the same if you want to kind of double test a line. So the initial line that I drew and then this line actually works out to pretty much the same target. You know, if I do this and I do the one that Kelly talked about, you're open to the 200. Look where those two lines are at. So that's clearly your target. Pop up to the 21, short it, take some profit, back up, no reason to get stopped out, and there's your target. Bam. Yeah, meta. The thing with meta is you don't have to chase. You're gonna get a pop at some point in it. And if you up here, yeah, that was a tough one. You'd have to chase that. But you know, when it's something like this, it's like, oh, I'm shorting meta here. You had another chance to short it here on the pop. It's very rare that you're not going to get an attempt to shake you out when you trade meta. It doesn't move smoothly. It does when you look back at it, but during it, the options don't move much. Like the options were probably break even to loss through this whole area. You were probably like 10 cents up, flat, 5 cents down, and now you're 30 cents up, and now you're, 40 cents up, and then if you don't sell some, you're probably back to break even here, and you're pissed off and about to get shaken out, and then it goes back down here and goes through. That's why it's important to take profit. So during the day, you can, or even the next day, identify that, you know what, Tesla's not trading well. I'm losing my money in these names. Let's, instead of just focusing in on one name, let's see what was working, what wasn't working. Let's go back and review my charts. Let's go through my watch list. Was there names I should have taken that I didn't because I was tunnel visioned on a name that sucked all week? And I'm like, I'm going to make my money here, instead of being like, oh, there's money to be made in the Qs and Tesla, in NVIDIA, and I'm going to find a way to trade these names. I'm going to diversify, and I'm going to use the same strategies. Nothing's changed. I'm still using 21s and fib lines to catch these levels, and I'm going to find other names that are trending, going in the right direction, and I'm going to put it all together, and I'm going to smack the crap out of it. And you have to realize that first, the strategies that you're using work on a macro level, because you're going to be, at the end of your day, you're going to be frustrated, you're going to be mad, you're down on yourself, feel like that you're not good at this when you are. And in reality, it was just some mistakes. There was a few mistakes that took place. Maybe you're too tunnel visioned, and being able to recognize that at the end of the day and be like, you know what, but there are still names that work. So I'm going to come into this and I'm going to put together base hits tomorrow. I'm not going to try to get everything back that I lost. I'm just going to try to trade smart. I'm going to try to trade intelligently, because what you really need to do after blowing out is prove to yourself that you're a good trader. You need to practice risk management, not only with your money, which is why you blew out. You didn't practice good risk management. You need to practice risk management, but you need to practice mental capital risk management, and you need to understand where you're at, and you need to understand what you need to do to gain that capital back and to build that back. And just like you can't hit a home run because you can't just hit a home run and get everything back most of the time. You can't just hit a home run with your mental capital and get it all back. Because what happens when you hit a home run is you're going to hit a home run and you're like, man, I just made $5,000, 300, 10 grand, whatever it is, back in 2 trades. I'm going to make 2 more trades and double my day. And then you're going to be like, I just lost all the way back down, and now I'm massive red again when I wasn't. Why? All because you had that home run mentality, and then you got it back, and then you continued that bad psychology into your next couple trades, and now you blew out. As opposed to that base hit, finding good trades and putting them together. That's what you got to do the next day. You come back and you do the same thing. If you draw these boxes at the end of the day, the next day you come back, you draw the boxes, you say, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm not looking for. I'm going to find trades that fit the parameters of what I like to trade. I'm going to take them, and I'm going to hold them to target. I'm going to take some off, and holding to target, your target could be 30 seconds, your target could be, a moving average, your target could be anything, whatever it is. I'm going to hold, I'm going to take profits off early to lock in my trade. I'm going to let the rest work, and I'm just going to put together these hits to get me where I need to go. If I was telling myself or someone else how to recover from a psychological break like tilting, what do you do well? What do you do well? What do you know you can do? What's a name you're confident in? What's a trader you're confident in? What can you see? Look back at the end of the day. What were you seeing? What was seen? Why did you want to take this trade? Was it valid? Was it not? Prescribe a reason to your loss. We've talked about this many times. A reason for your red day. You have to ascribe a reason for losing. You have to attach it to something. And it has to be valid, and it can't be an excuse. And then you have to come back the next day, and you have to trade with intent and with purpose in the trades you make, following your rules. I'm very happy with my Tesla break-even small gain trade from the other day, because there's many times in the previous week that was a 5-figure trade for me. I am cool with it breaking even, because the next time I see the 200 and the 21 compress that tight and we hit it and instantly the buying stops, I will get in it 10 out of 10 times. Is the trade you're taking that? Are they hitting a level and you're taking the amount of size you need to give it room, if that's your strategy? Or if it's the type that, you just want to get in and out if it doesn't work, and you're okay with that, and that's what you're looking for. Are you taking it at the right moment? Or are you FOMOing once it doesn't work and it pops back up and it goes back down and it's kind of choppy? What type of action are you in? Are you taking a trade that is conducive to the type of action that the market is giving you? You have to identify those things, and then you have to apply those things the next day. Keeping yourself in a mindset of kind of like working through and telling yourself a story of what you're doing, subscribing reasons to wins and losses, especially even wins. Here's something that we don't talk about sometimes, is subscribing reasons to winning. You're like, I'm freaking really good. I can ascribe my losses. Okay, go back and find your biggest winning trades of the day and find out why you're winning. And maybe you notice something like this, what? Anya did this in the VWAP trade the other day, and other people, Rose does this, Mitchell does this in different trades. Like Praveen was doing this, and thanks Praveen for making me want to spend another $4,000 on a different monitor, the 55-inch Odyssey Arc. I appreciate you, brother. If you're, watching this in the future, I would have seen it anyway, but and you're like, oh, hey, look, Meta is failing every single time it hits this level, and it's putting in higher lows. So you know what? I'm going to wait, and if it retests, like, oh, look, it failed here. You know what I'm going to do? The next time, let's say we're right here on the chart, I'm going to put this line up. Next time it comes up to it, if we fail this level, I'm going to short it. And you do something like this, and you make 10, 20 cents, or maybe a little bit more, and then you're like, all right, you're out, you take some profits. It comes back up, it hits it again, you're like, I'm going to try it again. It failed, it's going to go down, I'm going to take a few more cents. I'm not saying do that specifically, I'm using this as an example. You notice a trend and you start taking stuff. Subscribe reasons to why you took a trade, not just reasons to the ones you lost. Subscribe the reasons to the ones that you win. Your reason shouldn't be, well, Gator took the trade and it worked, so I'm good. What about, why did you take it? If it was Gator took it, all right, why did Gator take it and why did it work? Let's understand it. Let's DM him. Let's drop a comment and something. Let's look at whatever it is. And subscribe, or and all that stuff, the video, if you guys are watching. You don't have to, but if you want to, always helps the channel and stuff. Where was the fibs at? Where was the move at? Where was the measured move at? Start putting that stuff together at the end of the day to give you a reason why you won and why you lost, so you can begin to the next day subscribe or inscribe reasons to the victory. And Rebecca, you say why? Because that's going to build your confidence in the right things. Because if you just come here and you're just like, cavalier about your trades, and you're just like, yeah, I got this, and you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to take this short here off the 200, and I'm in it short, and it went down, and you know what, this happened. Okay. Or is there something greater that you can see? Like you have oh, it just worked. Like you're like, I'm just going to short right here for no reason. Gator says to short. I'm up here. I'm looking at this. Gator says to short right here, so I'm in it. It works. I make money. I don't care. Deuces, guys. And you're just like, yeah, whatever. And you don't ascribe a reason to it. You don't put a reason on it that says this is why I won. But instead, you're like, oh, wait, we were at, the bottom of this candle is 76.17. The top of this candle is 76.08. We were coming up to resistance. The 21 and the 200 was here. And Meta, I don't know what the Qs were doing, but let's pretend the Qs hit resistance and they're coming down. We're at the top of a couple of these lines. If you look left, you'll see a couple other candles that were just above. So we're right at a resistance level that is kind of held up, where we hit and we failed that resistance, busted up to it, went back below it. Now we're retesting it. The 200 and the 21 are here, starting to invert on the 2 minute. So I kind of like this short. If we fail here, all right, I'm going to take a short. And then it works. Now you're not ascribing a reason to it. You're not winning because you're awesome. You're winning because there were parameters in which you entered and took a trade that set you up for success. So your reason is not your excellence as an individual, or Geronimo, or anybody, Kelly, or Gator, or Rose, or Mitchell, or CT, or somebody that called something out in chat. Instead, your reason for success is identifying a trade based on parameters that you're ascribing to that trade, in the same way that when you fail, there was a reason you failed. There was a reason for your success or that trade success. And identifying that then allows you to look for such things in future trades. And those future trades, will continue to what's the word I'm looking for? Continue to help you succeed. It'll help you succeed. It'll help you to put together more wins, because you're not just thinking, I got this. Like, nah, I'm good. I print 5 figures a day, bruh. I'm like, I'm 4 figures. I make $100 a day, $500. I just click a button. I don't know. It's like, it just looks like it's good. And I'm with people who know stuff, and I click buttons and print money and then fling at the club. No, or whatever it is. I don't know. Go buy Lululemon workout stuff and whatever. No, there's a reason for your success. There's a reason trades work, and there's a reason trades fail. Nothing is just random. There's a reason things are happening. Let's look at it and let's see what's happening in the story of the price action. So when I'm tilting, or I'm within that, if over the course of a lot of days, I'm ascribing reasons to why I'm winning and why I'm losing, I'm reinforcing good and bad behaviors in my mind, and I'm recognizing them during the day. Am I just taking these trades early in the morning because I'm stupid? Because I'm just like, I got this, Tesla's going to run 50 points today, 40 points, I'm holding all of it, I'm doing this, or I'm the 200, or is it like, oh, this is happening, I don't like this, I'm unsure about this is my target level, is the fib level, it retraced to the 21, I took it, I took off profits here, I took off profits here, I took off profits here, my trade worked. I took off profits here, it went against me, I broke even on the second half. I took profits, the second half went against me. Am I identifying the reasons it works, the reasons it failed, what I could have done differently or applied differently? And as you're doing that, you're reinforcing these things to help you not tilt in the future, to keep you grounded, to keep you focusing on trades and not your ego. Because as you win, your ego builds, and you think you're better than you are. You start losing, you get your ego put in check, and that can suck. But if you're constantly looking at why things are happening that are beyond you, you're actually seeing what is actually happening. You're learning to identify it. And it's simply identifying what is happening that is making you make money, because it's really what we're doing. We're identifying what is taking place. I'm not controlling it. I'm just identifying what is taking place, and then I'm participating in it. I see that the grapple is happening, or someone's setting himself up for a choke and he's trying this move on me, and I know I can maneuver around him and put him in a chokehold or an armbar because I know what he's doing. I see a wave coming, and I know how to get up on it because I'm predicting what could happen. It might not happen. Then he might put a reversal in me. He might put me in a choke. I might lose. I just have to survive that trade and get out of it because it doesn't work. No trade is 100%. No trade is 100%. What if you're like, oh yeah, but I took this 200. Now something else here is happening in the market. So this is a different trade than this trade. So you should be like, well, why is this 200 different than this 200? I took this 200 short and it just went down and then it went against me. Why didn't this one work? And you could ask these questions and you could prescribe the reasons that these trades do and do not work. As you do that, you will be able to, I hope I wasn't zoomed in there in front of what I was doing, that 200 test. As you do that, you'll be able to identify the trades that are good throughout the day, bad throughout the day, and apply them to just your psychology. So when you're tilting on a micro and a macro level, you can see, look, it was just a hard day and I committed too much and I shouldn't have. I'm going to size down. I'm going to learn how to do risk management. I'm going to learn when we're at the end of a daily move, like Geronimo's been saying all week. Hey guys, we're at the end of the line here with the Qs. How long's he been saying it? You're at the end of the line. You're at the end of the line. You're at the end of the line. Like, this is hard trading. This is why it sucks. Look, we're at the end of the line. You know, his target next week is 311. He thinks we're going, I would agree with him, all the way down to here. 311.64. You know, we're probably going down is his target for next week. Very possible down in this range. That's your pull. And then who knows if we break down and we flush, I hope we do, or if we pop back up and we hit the 200. If we hit the 200 and go to $48, I'm shorting the Qs. Be that as it may, that's a possibility. Who knows what's going to happen? You got to apply, you have to be able to apply these things to yourself though, and understand where you're at in the move, the different time frames, what's happening. And if you're going to keep doing this as a job and all this, you start putting this stuff together and it's going to help you be successful. Ow, I've got an elbow issue. Every time I sit on it or put it down, it just shoots with pain. It feels like you're getting stabbed with a knife. Does that answer the question of why I'm saying this stuff, guys? Why I'm talking about tilting and why it's important to ascribe reasons to your wins and your losses? Sorry, yeah. I mean, seriously, like, it is beyond important to do that. I don't mean to beat a drum and just say the same thing over and over again. But, you know, I can talk about all this, but do you know the reason I won in meta today? I know, I 100% know the reason I won in meta. Move my face out of the way. Not going to mess up this time. I'm 100% sure the reason I won in meta. Why? We're gapped down. The market's failing to break up. I'm looking at the Qs at the same time as this. I drew this fib, your 200 to the opening print. We pop back up. We don't hit the 50%. We're very close to the 50%. We fail to break higher. 2-minute chart. We fail to break higher. We begin to break down. We pop up. We put in a lower 2-minute high. Pop up just a little bit. Instantly fail. We don't pop up and rock. The Qs are going down. 71.53 is a previous support level. We cut right through that. All right, this is a short through this green to me. You're failing the 61. You failed to get back above the 61% retracement. So you failed to even hit the 50, so we're fairly weak. We pop up. We fail to hit the 50. We're below the 61. We pop right up through the 61, and we just fail it. There's your red tick screen. This was a short I called. There's your one to the downside. Here's your first profit. The 100%, well, I mean, I guess you could take a little bit more. Notice it pops there. It's also S2. So this is 71 to, you know, it's a point. So in your options, that's 40 cents or so. There's your first. I may or may not, I'm not going to talk about size. I took that, and then you're down here. You're still going. Maybe you take off more here if you just want to risk. You know what? The day is tough. I don't know that we're going to go to the 127. I'm just going to take off some here. A little bit more. Maybe not. I don't know. This is probably the one. That's 138 right here, actually. I don't have it marked, but I can guarantee you that's it. You're going back up. You hit the 8. You don't fail. No reason to get out of it. We're still chopping around. Your just option's going to sit there. Who cares? You're still green on the trade. Boom, you hit the 127. You're out. Maybe you go more. Maybe you don't. At this point, I'm out on this trade, and I'm waiting for a 21 test. You go a little bit lower. Who cares? There's S3. You pop back up into the 21. There's your next short. What's your target? That. Or at least minimum day lows. So what's your, you know, you got 69 to 63.80, about a point. You know, you want to take less size on this probably, but here's your trade. There's your breakdown. Whip up, try to shake you out. Probably might. There's take a little bit of profit off. Hold. At this point, it starts going up. A lot of times I'd take it out here. You're getting back above. You come back up to what was the 127. At this point, like I leave this one up, but I might throw up a second fib just to be like, you know, where's the first move that took place before we hit the 21, after we hit the 21. Once we hit the 21, I draw the fib from the previous move to the retracement. I find that works pretty well. and we hit the 21. So where's my target? They both kind of line up, the 161 and the 127. So I know that's my target. So maybe I take this. Maybe I decide to get out some here. Maybe I see it breaking back down. I'm like, you know what? I think we're going there. I'm just going to take it, give it some room, small size, and let it get there. You have an actual reason for taking the trade, for why it worked and why it didn't work. I know why meta worked. I can tell you why I took this trade, why I thought it was going to work, why I held it, why I took a smallish size or big size early and then just left a runner. Dang it, why do I keep doing that? 71 something or another. I have to go back and look. I could tell you exactly why. You know, other people doing trades, you got to be able to tell yourself why your winners worked. If I looked at Tesla today, I can tell you why I didn't take this. Look at all these candles. This sucks. And this ATR is like $1 and $2. And the options, like, yeah, it worked. Same thing worked. But I know why I didn't take this when I was looking at it. Yep, there you go. Your 8, you know, this worked. There's your target. You know, there's your pop-up. It didn't pop up 50% or even 61. If it would have went to S1, I would have shorted it. Like literally on this line, I would have shorted it. It didn't happen. So I didn't take it. And then it just grinded down. I was like, I'm not doing this. It's next week's options. They move like molasses. And I don't have a good entry. At any point, it could just pop into the 21. Especially after it hits the 127. So after this, I'm not taking it. It hits the 168. Just continues to go down. All right, I'm going to delete this. I'm going to look at it. You know, all right, we put this massive leg down. I drew this intraday. And I was like, what am I looking at? Now, this, I don't see anything. Like, sure, we're into the 21. So if I take this, even if I take this trade, let's say I take this trade. One, we're overextended, way overextended to the downside, and you hit support. Here's your support line, 78.12. So it's like, all right, we hit the 21. I'm going to take it short. Now, why didn't this work? Maybe because we're overextended and we didn't actually test the 21, but maybe it's overextended to the downside. All right, we pop back up to the 61.8% retracement. Here is a short. We come back down. We actually hit the 100%. So why did this short work? Well, we hit the 61.8. We failed it. We know this is a key level. This is also S3, so this is definitely a key level. More than 21. We didn't even test the 21 here. Put in higher. All right, we break to the 100%. You 100% have to take size off here. You flag. You break down into this support line, and then you go higher. All right, whatever. And then we don't put in a new low, and we put in higher lows and grind up. You could have short here. You could come back to this, and you could say, you know what? Next time we hit S3, I'm going to short. You can see that it didn't fail here. You could take a trade where you just sit here and you're like, you know what? I'm going to wait till the next time it hits S3, and I'm going to short it for a target of the 21, half, and then the day lows. And you could see it grind it up. And you're like, I'm waiting. All right, we're basically at S3, and we fail and we break down. I'm going to try a short here. I'm going to take this short, and I'm going to put my stop right here at 89, and this is 88. So this is probably on next week's options a 50 to 60 cent loss. If it pops on me, I'm going to give it that room to go on me, and I'm going to have a target of, you know, this 100%, you know, retracement down here, or this pivot where it went up, or this pivot low or something, and I'm going to give it near that target. And I'm going to take profits along the way. So I'm going to sell here, and I'm going to sell here. And if it breaks down, I'll hold a small runner. If not, I'll get stopped out when it breaks above the 21. You create a trade. You create an idea for a trade, and then you take it and you subscribe or exscribe the reasons that it worked and the reasons that it didn't. And you look back at it at the end of the day and you talk about it. To me, that's how I recover from tilting, or a tilt day in the macro. Is I come back and I look at it. I'm like, this is why this worked. It didn't work. You know what? We were extended. I was being a little greedy. You know, that it wasn't moving how I wanted. I knew it, and I forced things. That's my bad. But look, these strategies were working. I traded the wrong name. It's like Mitchell yesterday. It's like we were trading Tesla. It didn't work. So he trades NVIDIA, makes his money back. Switching names. Maybe I need to be more flexible with my names. What am I doing wrong? Market's going to do what it's going to do. You're going to get mad at it, or are you just going to find something else that's doing what you want to do, and you're going to trade it? What do you want to do? Don't mean to be preachy or ramble. So if I'm rambling, say shut up, or, you know, whatever it is. Find the names that are doing what you want. If nothing's doing what you want, walk away. Go do something else. Go do something else. Who cares? You don't have to trade every day. You don't have to make money every day. It's the biggest fallacy. You don't have to make money every day. Walk away. Just like, I don't like this, guys. Market sucks. I'll be back later. Maybe, you know, nothing's happening. I'm good. Who cares if you miss something? There's going to be trades next week. We had like 2 weeks, in my opinion, of amazing trading. I was freaking murdering it. Like, just for me. And this week I did nothing, like, basically. Like, in my opinion, it was a negative week. And it's like, oh, okay. This is trash. Like, it was hard. Like, a couple days, I did pretty good a couple days. But it was like, you know what? Overall, compared to what it was and what I was doing 2 weeks ago, I was freaking killing it. I had multiple 5-figure days. And now it's like, yeah, you're having a hard time making $500 at the end of the day. You had a few 4-figure days and you're having a hard time. It's because you're focused on the wrong names. You're doing these things. You're not taking the levels. You're taking too much size. When the ATRs are low, you're not letting the trades play out. All right, let's size down. Let's take the trades. All right, you're trading good now. Okay, we're okay. Let's make sure that we're doing these things correctly. And just do that. Start developing those habits within you, and you can train yourself to, you're always going to be able to tilt, but I think part of the long-term process of overcoming it for like people like Geronimo, Kelly, and others, it's you just have complete and utter confidence in what you do. And that just total confidence in what you do is going to give you the ability to come back and be like, hey, I had a bad day today. You know what? It happens. You know what I'm going to do tomorrow? I'm going to come back and smack the crap out of it. And you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Because this job, tilting, what it really does negatively is it affects your perception of yourself. It kills your ego, and it kills the ability for you to trade intelligently or to take your trades with confidence. And it destroys your confidence in yourself and your confidence in your strategies. Well, if you're ascribing reasons and you're looking at the reasons that the strategies work and don't work, you're able to take your ego out of it. And so the next time, you're just able to look at more so the factors of why a trade may or may not work, as opposed to, having it be about you. You're just looking at the market, and to the best of your ability, which isn't entirely possible, but, somewhat, is you're removing that ego part of it from the equation. And you're like, hey, I'm, doing this, I'm doing that. And for me, that's how I regulate that part of it, which is really hard. Drop facts, drop fire, cook. And if you do that, and it is the hardest part, man, because if you're down, like, how many jobs do you go up to work and you lose $5,000 or $2,000 or $200, or, you're trying to become a good, successful trader, and you're like, and then you're losing or whatever it is, and you're having these issues, there's not many jobs that do that and put you through this, like, cheers. It's like, cheers, brother. It's not, that put you through this kind of mental anguish of where, you're making, massive or good money. I'm going to say massive, but just good money. And then the next week, it's almost impossible to make anything, or you feel that it is. You feel like a failure. It happens. Yeah, 27K, whatever it is. You feel that way. Hey, what are you going to do? The only thing you're going to do? You're going to go back. You're going to look at your trades. You're going to figure out why they work and why they don't work. You're going to be like, I did this. I should have known not to trade. I knew not to trade. I broke my rules. I deserved to lose, whatever it is. This was happening. I'm going to come back. I'm going to trade intelligently. Draw my boxes. Follow my rules, whatever they are. Take my trades. Trade them to target. I don't care what your target is. Recognize resistance and pivot levels. I'm going to look at the stuff and pay attention to the things that people are saying. And I'm going to take my trades with confidence because I realize why they do and don't work. And you're just going to come back the next day and you're going to do it. You need to execute with small size because you need to get your confidence. It's not about making the money. It's about gaining your mental capital back in yourself and in your strategies. And then you start implementing them correctly based on the risk parameters, based on the market. It's like Geronimo said this morning, and I said it too. It's like, hey, we're at support levels and like we're gapping down into support. So it might be choppy. And while things went down, they just grinded through the levels and there was never a bounce. There needed to be a bounce. If we would have had I would have had an incredible day if the Qs hit this and went up and then went down. Would have been a amazing day. Instead, we do this. Yeah. I didn't trade any of this. I left at like 11:40, 11:40, 11:35. Yeah, you could have just been short all day, but whatever. You know, you're going through support levels. It's difficult. Identify it's a difficult day. Identify why they do and don't work. Ascribe reasons to them. Come down. Sit down the next day. Trade small enough not to make back. Size doesn't really matter. Trade with the appropriate size to gain confidence in yourself and your strategies. Sit down the next day. Do your nighttime routine. Wake up in the morning. Prep to go. Sit down and look. Not ego of like I'm making my money back and I'm a good trader. But instead, here's what I'm looking at. Here's what I'm seeing. I see this happening, this happening. If this happens, I'm going to take a trade. If this happens, I'm going to take a trade. All right, let's go. All right, moving average is hit. All right, I'm going to take my trade off of this. I'm going to give it this room, whether that's little room, a lot of room, whatever it is. All right, we're good. And you just start going through that. This is the wrong color. It's supposed to be yellow. That's my advice. Not advice. I'm not allowed to give advice. That's my that is my advice to myself. That is my advice to anybody struggling, anybody coming from a tilt day. If you do that too every day, this isn't just going to be something that you start doing when you lose. If you do this every day, you're less likely to tilt, but you're also going to recover quicker because you're just going to default to this, as opposed to it being about your ego or your awesomeness or your ability to trade or anything else, or relying on Gator or Geronimo. What if I'm off on my calls? What if my targets don't hit? What if Geronimo's like, this stuff's not working because the Qs do what they want to and they don't respond to him? What if Kelly's calls are a little bit off because he has a bad day? You know, is the reason you lost because Kelly's calls didn't work, or this person didn't work the way you wanted them to and you got shaken out? Or can you identify why they did or didn't? And do that every single day. Put that crap together. Come to the market every day with that plan. Trade your plan. Walk away. Adjust your plan as you need to. Day to day, week to week, month to month. And get better at the job of trading and the skill of being a good day trader. And right now, the market's hard. Freaking live with it. The market's going to change next week when Tesla splits for those of us who trade Tesla. I'm thinking about showing you guys what I made in Tesla this year, just so you can show how much of a change this is going to be for me. Not sure. Maybe you guys want to see that. I can show you what I've made in Tesla up to this point. Who knows? But, you know, if that's something you want to see, let me know. Drop a comment. Be like, yeah, I want to see what you made in Tesla this year. And I'll show it after the split. So we can see post-split to pre-split what I made between now in Tesla and what I'm going to make between the end of the year and now, to see if I can continue my, you know, skills in trading Tesla. We'll see. I'll do that post-split. I'll do a post-split show, and maybe I'll show that. I think it's going to be a great trading vehicle. I'm not worried about the split. I'm just going to have to watch it after it trades. Because all these trades, like I show you Meta, I show people Qs, like they all follow these fib lines and they all follow measured moves. It's not going to stop doing that. It's just going to trade different. Who cares? We'll trade it. We'll make money. I haven't traded Apple, Rebecca, at all, I think, this year. Maybe I should. I mean, obviously, when it does this, I should. But these moves intraday are so small on the options. Sometimes it's not, but sometimes it is. I haven't paid enough attention to it to be able to trade it well. I think I could trade it. I mean, right here, all you got to do is buy it off the 15-minute 200 and just enter every time it hits a 15-minute 200 and you'd be good. We'll see. So it hit the 15-minute 200 now. So that means that technically speaking, you could see a bounce if the market doesn't fail in Apple for a move back to the trend line. Because every time it's hit the 15-minute 200, it's pulled up pretty close to this trend line. So You could see a move now, like a $6 move in Apple, $7 move if it doesn't break down and fail hard next week. This is the first time we're actually under it though, so I wouldn't be surprised seeing a pull down finally. Again, I'm bearish on the market going into next week. Yeah, no, me neither. You guys got any questions? I know I've been rambling. A few people asked me to talk about it. I received a few messages for people who are tilting. And I've been tilting and like, what would you do? How do you handle this? This is my, at least right now, I mean, one of the best advice. I could always talk more about it, but I feel like I've gone on long enough for one thing. Maybe with some of the other people, I'll have some other people on and we can talk about tilting and recovery. I think a lot of us have had difficult weeks compared to previous weeks. Even if you're green, you've had difficult weeks. I think the chat in the T3 room the last 2 days, there was like nobody who was very green and a few people who were green. Most people, 50% plus of the room are red or flat to red, so if you have an 80% flat to red day, that's 70%, it's pretty bad as far as how bad the market is. So just survive. It's cool to just survive. You know that, right? You don't have to have incredible weeks. Sometimes just surviving, you're doing pretty good. And this week, if you survived and you're going to live to trade next week, you'll be all right. Even if you're red. Can you trade next week? Good. Let's see. Yeah, you did well then, Rebecca. This is the bandits market. There's a reason we're day traders. I like scalping because I can choose to catch 1 or 2 good trades early and lock it in. And if I was having a hard time, guess what I'd be doing? 5 trades a day type thing, 10 trades a day. That's all I'm just going to do. I'm going to wait. I'm going to take 5 to 10 trades a day, and I'm going to lock it in. Not going to trade aggressive early. Wait for pivot levels to hit. Fib levels, 21s, legs to get put in. Acceleration off of moving averages. Take my trades selectively, 5 to 10 trades, and lock it in. So it is a Friday night Fireside. Sorry, I didn't really have anybody else on. I hadn't done like a second or third show this week. I'll see if people want to come on Sunday or probably Sunday night. We'll see. But I can always do another. So if there's no other questions, guys, there's a link to the T3 room in the description of this video if you want to trade with me every day. There's also a link to the Discord room. If you do the T3 room, it does support the channel. If you sign up through that, it does. And I'm going to be trying to do getting T3 to give me a discount code for people who could receive a normal discount for signing up through here, so you can get lower prices for joining the room. So, but if you do want to support the channel and you want to trade with us, you can do it through that link below. Dari. You don't have to switch to options, Dari. I would recommend watching them first to understand how they move. So opening up an option next to your common and say like, I want to trade this option, and then click it, open it, start near the money, and then go out of the money. And understand that every name's options is completely unique and moves completely uniquely, even though there are some that are similar. And watch them compared to the common so you understand the risk parameters. Otherwise you'll get wrecked. And then also understand, like in common, you might be able to hold something or whatever it is. Options depreciate in value even throughout the day, so for longer holds and stuff like that, and they do go to 0 over time. So understand those things. So I would always recommend starting off slow, watching them while having them next to your common so you can see how they move and what the mental difference that you're going to have from a common trade to an option trade. And then seeing if you want to go start off small, do a few of them, maybe really smaller size than you're even used to in your common, just to kind of get the feel of them, because it's going to feel entirely different. And then from there, kind of size into it if it's something that you're interested in doing. That's just my opinion. I obviously can't tell you what to do. Not really tracking my stats, Cook. It's more understanding that where the price is going. So it's like JR talks about, and I've talked about some, if you have a fib line and it has this going on, and Kelly talked about when he came on the show, it's like, if you know where the price is going or the probability of it going there, then why not hold it till it gets there? And it's less stress on my part of timing entries. And it's like, if you're doing a fib line and something like, Meta, and it's a tough day or whatever it is, and you're looking at Meta at the open, and I'm just using this because I traded this today and we called this out live and all that other stuff. You're looking at this and you're like, you know what? I understand why I took this trade, which I went through earlier. I understood where my profit taking was going to be, and I understand the move it was statistically going to make. I don't need to sit here and scalp every one of these. I can take 30 contracts, sell 10, add, sell 10 or 20, whatever it is. Like, it doesn't really matter your strategy in it. My face is in the way again. Probably. Yeah, there we go. Haha, face out of the way. Same thing though. Like, we talked about this trade earlier. There's your 8 test and short, maybe add there or something, whatever it is. And so the whole time isn't based on just wanting to make more money. It's just growing as a trader and getting, it's like, yeah, well, it always hits this 127, 70% of the time, 86% of the time. So why not have a runner to that level? So it's more growth as a trader, with the goal of, instead of like scalping along the way there, getting it. So sometimes if I drew a fib like this and I saw that something was going here, and let's say it was Tesla, I don't always do this. It's not something I always do, but like I've messed around with it. It's like, if you see this happening, and let's say it popped up to here and this was my short. Let's hypothetically say this was my short at 88. Let's say this number was bigger. It's only a 10-point difference here. But let's zoom out. Let's zoom out. So let's say, for sake of argument here, well, here's your 161. Trying to like assume how I would do this. Sometimes I would take a contract that is out of the money, that is all the way down here at my target, because I'm not going to get whipped around too much. It's not going to move as much, but when it gets there, I'm going to make 3 or 4 points on it. And I'm just going to take that with small size, 5 contracts, 10 contracts, and then I might scalp some of the middle move at a more like at the money or in the money contract. And maybe I'll scalp some of it. Like when I see a pop that I like, I'm going to take it, but I'm going to hold my core position and my out of the money puts at the 128 target. And for this name, it wouldn't have worked today, but I'm speaking, hypothetically. Let's say let's draw a more realistic one, like this. Let's say this was your fib line. And again, I wouldn't have done this today because of you're in a crazy expansion mode. You can't do any trade in a vacuum. But let's say you took this short and your target was, and you didn't have support here, and your target was $75. Maybe I take the 70s, or if there's a 75, or the $80 puts, the 880s, when the stock is at 888. So I'm out of the money by 10 points. So I'm not going to get shaken out, or 20 points. So it can go a little bit slower. And then if I want to scalp on the move down, I'll move to at the money. So it's just kind of trying different things and understanding that once you understand where the price is going and your probability of taking something, sizing down and just letting the trade go to where it's going to go is often easier than trying to like catch 10 cents here, 20 cents here, lose 5 cents here, gain 50 cents here, lose 50 cents there. Sometimes I'm finding success with longer holds, and I'm not holding for wrong reasons. I'm holding because the trade is still working. and I'm still in an active trade with an active price action sequence that is actively going towards my target. And so it's just the parameters of my trade have changed. I hope that kind of answers the question. And that's why I'm doing this YouTube channel. It's like if you watched it early on, I was like 30 seconds in, 30 seconds out. I was like, you're in a trade, 10 seconds later, you're out. And now I'm like, yeah, I'm in a trade for 30 minutes. Evolving because you're watching price action take place and you're seeing where something's going and the probability of it going there. And I've taken profits off, so I don't have any risk in the trade, and I'm up a lot, and I'm just giving it room to get to where it wants to go. And it's getting there, and and so that's kind of, I'm enjoying growing as a trader in that way. Like, it's a lot of fun to me. Am I missing questions? Let's see really quick. Ow, stupid elbow. That sounds good, Rebecca. Nothing wrong with taking some time off. Get some. It's still August. Wait till September. The market's going to get better in September. I hope, anyway. Yeah. That's a good way to do it. If you have a total target, half, take some off, like James is saying. Have those half targets. There is a free open house next week, actually, in the NewsBeat Bandit room. I'll post links to that and stuff. So so next week there's actually free trading in the NewsBeat room. Doesn't cost anything. Anybody can get there. So share it with your friends and family and all that. They can trade for free next week. Meant to mention that earlier in the show. You can watch what we do. You can watch JR and his incredible call outs and all that stuff live. It's going to be pretty sweet. It's a really good room. So if you guys are there, in my opinion, it's the best room out there. I'm still in it. I love it. I wouldn't be where I was now if it wasn't for JR. Yeah, it really was, Cook. It was a big part of the, turning people around. And even if you're still hyper scalping, just understanding where you're at in the move is key. Even if you're just hyper scalping. Understanding where it's at, when you can enter, when your risk reward is higher versus lower, even if you're not going to hold a target. Understand when you want to get in and where your good entries are and where your not good entries are. Where's your low risk entries, and that's really where it's at. JR is amazing. So we've been going for about an hour and a half, guys. About 11 o'clock Eastern Coast time. JR is incredible, truly incredible mentor. Absolutely love trading with him. I wouldn't be where I am without him. Dude is amazing. Love this room. Love this community. As well, Cook, if DM me if you want some, like I've got some PDFs and some other stuff. I'm not sure how much if you're in the T3 room or not. But I'll send you a few PDFs and some stuff, just with strategies and a few other things if you want to kind of look at some of the rules for some of the trades we take and how we look at things. I've got a PDF and some other stuff I can send you if you want to kind of learn the scalping, strategy stuff and some of the fib stuff. And I mean, the fib stuff's different, but all that other stuff. Yeah, man, just hit me up on the Discord. So yeah, guys, hour and a half, 11 p.m. Long show if you guys just listen to me. But hopefully it was helpful. It's my opinion on recovering from tilting at a micro level within the day and a macro level throughout, generally speaking. There's other things too, like getting good sleep and all this other kind of fun stuff. But just generally speaking, if I was just putting a cap on it, that's a key point. So the actual how you look at trades and ascribing whatever reasons to them. With that, love you guys. Leave a like, share, all that other fun stuff that you're supposed to tell people to do in here. The channel's growing. I really appreciate all the support. You guys are incredible. So just send me a things, James, in the Discord. You send me a thing in Discord, I'll drop you guys a PDF with some different stuff. So appreciate you guys. And I will catch you all, if not over the weekend, for a Sunday night show. I'll catch you all next week. Not sure if I'll trade Monday morning or if I'll go to jiu-jitsu or if I'll do something else, but either way, I'll see you guys Monday. If not in the morning, then in the afternoon. Have a fantastic weekend. Get some rest, recoup, relax. Market's not the best this week. It's okay. You're going to have better weeks. We'll come back next week. We'll trade intelligently. We'll put our plan together. We'll execute our plan, and we shall be good. The Discord is in the description of this video if you wish to join it. If it's not, drop a comment if that link doesn't work in the video afterwards, and I will DM you a link to the Discord. That's not in? I mean, that's not in. I'm pretty sure there's a, but yeah, I'll drop it right now. Let's say invite people, copy. This one's only good for 7 days, so if you're watching this after the fact, I'm just going to drop one in this chat. You can click on this one. This one's good for 7 days. There you go, guys. Later, guys. I'll check the one in the Discord. Let me know if the one in the link doesn't work, and I'll